4 for 4 with 0 home runs, on pace for 0 home runs. This hat needs to be refreshed.
All he has to do is hit a couple to get hot, and then
yeah.
Like in spring training, you just track the pitches. He's just tracking the pitches.
Yeah. You're right. He went 0 for 11 to start the regime.
A lot of hard outs. He got robbed on a couple of hits.
He did that first hit. I'll give him that. He does look good. He looks the part. Yeah. That's for sure.
Doesn't look overwhelmed. That's the key.
As soon as you look overwhelmed, you're done.
Dunzo.
Because then they got you.
Yeah.
They know what to throw you. You're back in AAA.
As soon as you're at a hotel in Austin, that's when you know the podcast has made it. Coming to you live from Texas. I'm out here in Austin, Texas. And you know what they say? Everything's bigger in Texas, especially the expectations when it comes to Arch Manning and the University of Texas Longhorns football program. What are you thinking about the Longhorns for this year?
They came out with Steve Sarkisian, to me, is an enigma. This is one guy who was out in Montlake, drunk on Fireball, trying to recruit co-eds onto his boat while he was the coach of the Huskies.
Hey, he's been through a lot, and he's
No. That's the start of the story, right? That's the bottom, right? And as his journey, he's gotten sober, he ascended. He really proved himself at Alabama, obviously under Saban. But to actually see him run a program with the prestige of Texas in a way that Texans who don't like non-native Texans, he's been able to do has been amazing to me.
Yeah.
Especially recruit. To get Arch, we'll see. I don't know if there's a team that's any less intriguing or any more intriguing, I guess I should say, than Texas. Where do you think?
The recruiting job was to get him there, and then each and every year when he's not starting, to keep him engaged in the program and available. Right now, the expectations are through the roof. I'm saying Natty and Heisman. Those are my Arch expectations, and he could live up to both of them.
I think they did the right thing. Looking back at where they got to last year, I think they made the Final Four, right? If I'm correct, right? You make the Final Four, the distance between that and the championship game is pretty small. So Ewers did his job. So I think Arch has learned, one, you keep him from getting injured in a case where he might not be physically ready to go. But you just allow him to mature in the program, become a leader, be around long enough to understand the playbook. I think there's a lot that to be said for Arch sticking around. And then you're right, the expectations are out the roof for him delivering after being in the program so long.
And he played last year. I think he had like 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, got some key minutes. So he won't be so green when he goes out there this year. And let's not forget, like, he was the number 1 recruit 2 years ago. 6'3", 200 pounds. He can run, top shelf arm. You plug him into a Steve Sarkisian QB-friendly system that now can open up the playbook. There's a lot of things they could not do with Quinn. They can do it with Arch. So, like, as a defense, you're on edge, right? Like, do I cover the edge? Is he going to run? Is he going to pass? Like, he can throw it all over the field, and he can run. Like, my expectations are through the roof because Quinn Ewers is an okay quarterback. You throw in Arch Manning into Steve's system, look at what Mac Jones looked like in Sark's system in Bama.
I don't see RPOs early on for Arch, to be honest. I don't see that just due to the fact that you get him hurt, then what? And that there goes your season. So I see Sark being smart, running him out of the shotgun, getting him comfortable, just throwing passes. But, the SEC is no joke.
Yeah.
Like, no joke, right? Every game, any game, you can get beat. Vanderbilt beat Bama. Like, that is literally the epitome of the SEC. Like, you have the lowest end team beating the top team. For that, I guess it was last year. But I don't know if Arch, we'll see. I mean, if he was playing in the Big 12, I would call Heisman undefeated probably quicker than I would in the SEC.
Is he going to have the same impact that Cooper Flagg had on Duke?
What did Duke do the year before Cooper got there? Because that's how you measure impact, right? Where was it last year, and then the other part about
they made the tournament, but they didn't make the final game.
Yeah, I mean, but you look at Duke, right? Duke had others. They have like 4 other guys that are going to go in the draft.
Texas is loaded on offense and defense on
Agreed.
football.
So how can you measure the impact of just one guy? Right? That's what I'm saying.
I
Is
guess
that
what I'm saying is the expectation for Cooper Flag were like LeBron and Zion like.
right?
And he lived up to the billing where he was player of the year. They advanced in the tournament. They lost, but he got him to the final game.
Give me a comp. Who do you think his comp is? Matt Leinart?
No, I read
No,
about this.
just a way of impact.
Well, Trevor Lawrence,
Okay. Yes.
6'3", can run, can throw
Yeah.
it.
I could see that. Hopefully, he's better at the pro level than Trevor Lawrence is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I agree. So, you're down there? What is the sentiment around the program? And it's just, is everyone just foaming at the mouth, just drooling in order to get the college football season started?
yeah. It's a couple months away. 12 games. I mean, I think the over-under's like 10 and a
11.
half, right? like everyone's picking him number one. They've got running, they've got receivers, they've got defense, they recruited well, they've got the transfer portal. I'm excited. A couple months away, and it's a rematch. They play Ohio State in
Oh,
Columbus. That's the first game. We get to see it right away.
and you know who's more important than Arch Manning? The left tackle and the right tackle, because every rush end guy wants to just put him on his back. You know that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the SEC. Is one of. Well, I'm excited.
I'm excited.
I'm excited.
Listen here.
Excited.
The football program's going to do what the softball program did.
Ooh,
They just won the Natty.
they did.
Football's going to win the Natty. I can't wait.
How about? Did you see that? They tried to intentional walk her and she threw her bat out.
I did not see that.
It's crazy.
That's amazing.
Women's softball's nuts. They got the $1 million pitch on Texas Tech. Couldn't take down Texas. Texas wins.
But everyone who's listening to this episode wins. So hello and welcome to Big Ben and K Win. Each week we broadcast live on YouTube. If you're watching this live, drop your comments below. More of an audio podcast. Download, listen, and subscribe. 5 stars too. Anywhere you get your podcast. I'm K Win. He's Big Ben. We talked a little about Arch. We're going to get into the College Sports Commission. Or is that what it is?
Commission.
We're talking NBA Finals. And I took my first Waymo.
You did?
Driverless car.
How was it?
I was a little nervous. No, I didn't tip. I was nervous because I'm claustrophobic. And I'm like, what if I can't get out? The grid locks down. But I did it. And here's why it's great. There's a million reasons why it's great. And reason number one, you don't have to talk to anyone. I hate talking to Uber drivers. Reason number two, you can actually play your own music. You can pick.
Ooh.
There's a little playlist.
Ooh.
What'd
you pick?
I picked a little EDM because I was going to a meeting. I had to get hype. Reason number three, they give you a little reminder. Hey, don't forget your keys or your cell phone when you get out the car. I was like, I loved it.
Okay, Waymo to the next topic, which is
NBA Finals, or if you want to go direct payments to athletes.
I want to go NBA Finals real quick.
Okay. Listen, if Indy doesn't bounce back and win one in Indiana, it's over, bro.
Okay.
I saw game 2.
Whoa. So who said this? I don't know. It was someone on the broadcast post game. They go, oh, Kendrick Perkins says this. He goes, listen, who are the Oklahoma City Thunder? The team that you saw tonight and the team that you saw for the first 45 minutes in game 1. Yes. That's the team. They just didn't show up in the last 15 minutes of game 1. They're good. And like SGA is just so professional. I mean, he's articulate. He's like kind. He's like, yeah, we both played a good game, but.
You know what they say? You take on the personality of your best player, and he plays both ways. He's relentless on offense and defense, doesn't take a play off, and he's so cool and calm. So, like, if your best player is calm, even at a press conference, you're going to be calm and relaxed.
Exactly. I mean, and generally what you see is after a game like game 1, you kind of go, what just happened? And you might question if you're good, right? But I mean, game 2 is just a clinic, like just back to business, right? And Chet had a good game on both ends.
Yeah, came out aggressive.
He did, and that's what they need from him. He needs to get confidence right out the gate, and it's over. Yeah. It's over. Pacers, Halliburton's kind of been not your guy. Top 10? No. No, not
He's
even.
top 10 on every other night except when he plays OKC. That OKC defense, going back to my point, everyone plays. It's almost like that freshman basketball team where the coach is like, you need to get out and play defense if you're going to play on this team. And everyone on the team plays defense, and everyone who comes off the bench that plays defense, that is a Thunder. They're long, they're athletic. It doesn't matter if they switch, they just keep coming and coming.
Well, it's the small things though. Like you see them, like just hands in passing lanes, right? Hands up on the defender. Closing out on a string, closing down passing. Like it's like they're all on a string, right? Operating as one, and they know their assignments. They know what their job is effectively on defense, and they all do it. I mean, it's something. The reason it's so remarkable, it's something that's not done in the NBA on any other team on any other night, right?
Well, because Indiana beats you with a number of players, right? Like Halliburton's good, Siakam's good, but they've got other guys that can step up. And not all 5 players play defense. Like if you look at the Knicks, Brunson and Cat don't play defense. You look at the Lakers, there's a bunch of players that don't play defense. But on Oklahoma City, no guys are taking off. So like everyone's locked in. So you can't really say like, oh, I'm going to let this guy get off because he's got a weak defender, because there are no weak defenders on OKC. This is a historical defense, like all time. And you tap that in with Shea and MVP.
If
The sky's the limit.
If they win in 5, it's an all-time team, bar none. 68 wins, it's remarkable. But you have to also look at the additions that they had in Hartenstein and Caruso. I mean, that's their DNA is defense, both of them.
Gritty vets.
What's that? Yeah, gritty, right? Bring some toughness, because I mean, top to bottom, it's a team that's on paper doesn't pop. You should be scared of these guys, but get them on the floor and kind of grind you to death.
Yeah, they got Aaron Wiggins coming off the bench and scoring. Like they can hit you in so many different ways. I know I said Pacers in 6. I'm still leaning towards that. But if they don't come out on Wednesday and get Siakam and Halliburton going, like they're big in transition, like get the buckets, get out and run, catch the other team sleeping, get them in a cross match, get some ghost screens going. If they don't do that in game 3, I feel like they're going to have a harder time winning this series. They got to come out and win.
That's too many things that have to go right. Like you just listed like 6 things that must go right for them to win. Like you don't think that Oklahoma City knows that, so they're just going to defend against it. I just don't see it. I called it a gentleman's sweep. I'll continue with that.
All right. Should we get into college sports since the NBA is over?
Ooh, money.
So I dove into this.
Okay,
it was House versus NCAA. A ruling was last Friday. And there's several aspects to what is going to happen in college sports starting July 1st moving forward. I don't think we can cover all of it because it's too many moving parts. But there's some things I want to talk about. It's the direct payments. So now all of the Power 5 schools, Pac-12 has got 2. So all of them automatically opt into a framework where they have a salary cap of roughly, let's call it $20 million, where they can pay their student athletes. And it's up to each individual athletic director to direct those payments. Like, am I going to go to football, basketball, that sort of stuff. And it's really a milestone accomplishment for the NCAA because they didn't want to get involved into it. So then they appointed another committee to basically oversee direct athlete payments.
What are the stipulations? I mean, do you? Because here's why I ask. I saw a program like Seattle U say they were going to opt into the program. Is it an opt-in thing, and there are stipulations about how you get your money to the athletes and so forth? And do you have to have Title IX, this many programs? That's the part I don't understand. In the fact that, are you simply giving money out to the teams that already have money coming in, thus making them better than everyone else around them?
So there's 3 components. There's revenue sharing.
Mm-hmm.
There's roster limits. They got rid of scholarship caps. It's just roster limits. And then it's third-party NIL deals. And this is all overseen by this College Sports Commission. But to
Oof.
go back to your Seattle U example, it's annually. So
Ah,
annually, each non-Power Five school like Seattle U, Santa Clara can decide if they want to opt in. And if
okay.
they opt in, then they get that salary cap. And you might be asking yourself, well, why wouldn't I opt in?
Right.
Well,
You got to
they're
pay it
not
back.
giving you $20 million. You have the ability to spend 20 million of your own money to pay your players. So we'll take Santa Clara for an example. If they opted in and they're paying their athletes 20 million, how much revenue is all the sports
There you go.
making? So you
That's
might not be profitable. So you've got to make a decision like, do I want to opt in? Like, what are the ticket sales for women's soccer and
right.
volleyball? And am I building a new stadium? And do I need a new facility? So it's really like a cost benefit analysis each year for these smaller schools.
No, you could also say you're Santa Clara and you're like, all right, I want to go get some recruits. I need to, and it's say it's a 4-year program for a school. These kids stay, right? Effectively, could you contractually give them a 4-year contract in a single year, seeing, hey, come here, I'll give you 1 million or 250K over the course of 4 years each year, but yet I don't have to opt in the second year. I just have that money on reserve, contractually obligated to some players in out years.
Well, here's the thing: the 20 million cap and NIL still exists. So like
Oh wow!
NIL is on top, right? So you can pay all these players and then you have to get
Ah,
approved through a clearinghouse, right?
right.
For the NIL deal. And so this new college sports commission. They have to approve the NIL deal. So if your daughter Kennedy signs with an agent and gets a deal for Beats headphones, you've got to send the paperwork over to the clearinghouse that details all of that. So
Wow.
it's a long way to say like you can pay players, but the NIL is on top of that. So if you think of the bigger schools like Texas and Bama, they're going to work the system a little bit and say like, hey, Arch, like you've got 5 mil coming in
Yeah,
from
yeah, 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 yeah.
NIL. You want to like offensive tackles?
Yeah,
Like we need
we'll
to
get
pay
you.
20 million for that.
I mean, great. There's oversight. Great. There's an ability for a small school to go out and kind of build a program if they'd like to. We all know that, like Santa Clara, right? They have their programs. Those schools that women's soccer, for example, I think is probably a good one at Santa Clara, right? If they want to continue that prowess, well, you can maintain that and you can figure that out how much you need in order to draw the appropriate players to field a team that's going to win a title, right?
Yeah.
So you might have these Olympic sports become a little more interesting, or at least less parity and more like, yeah, you see the same 4 teams: University of Portland, Santa Clara, Seattle U, and some small school in the East now playing every year for the women's lacrosse title.
Yeah. But to
Right?
answer your question directly, so you have to opt in annually. So it's almost like these student athletes can only get 1 year deals
Uh,
for the payments. But the NIL deals, I mean, I'm assuming those can be 3, 4 years. So like you've got to balance like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, I have a 1 year payment to our star, outside hitter on volleyball. If
Right.
she doesn't perform next year, the salary cap goes up, but you didn't perform, you might be getting less.
Gosh.
And then the other thing which I read is all of the schools, I'll repeat it, all of the schools have to back pay the athletes over a 10-year period, the NIL money from the settlement from like, I think it's like 2010 to 2022. So if you go back to Seattle U, you might not opt in because you're paying out some
Yeah,
of
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
money to these other players. So there's a lot of moving parts you have to consider on whether you opt in or
God.
opt out. But if you're a Power Five school, it doesn't really matter because you generate so much revenue from all these games and ticket prices and merchandise that the little schools don't really have a chance. And it might impact some walk-ons, right? You might not be
Mm-hmm.
able to pay walk-ons or fully fund sports that don't generate revenue like lacrosse or
Could you
track.
imagine that you're the AD and the head or tennis coach, whatever. You have to get in the room with all the head coaches. Say how much collectively do you need? Probably like I need to know how much money do you need, Like, and justify it twice, and tell me how many wins you're going to have, and how successful. Like, there's going to be an accountability to it, right? I'm not just going to give you 5 million. You got to tell me how many fans are coming in the door, how much merchandise like you're saying, how much merchandise you're going to sell of it. Your job as a head coach in any Division One athletics just got way harder. Now,
Yeah.
now
It's beyond coaching and beyond recruiting.
I need money. How much
Yeah.
money? This much money. Tell me how much money you're going to give me back. I don't know. Well,
Yeah.
you got to know. Or
Well,
else
if
you're
I
not
get the
getting money.
players, then I could generate the ticket sales. I'm just wondering if some of these Power 5 schools in the SEC might lean in on baseball or basketball more, like Vanderbilt. Like, hey, we're not winning. Like, we're going all in on basketball and baseball.
I mean, LSU. I would think top to bottom. What is it called? The Commissioner's Cup, where they take points from every school, men's and women's, and then they give you the cup based on points, and they're weighted.
Yeah.
Gymnastics isn't as big as blah blah blah. But you look at programs like LSU that all they care about is sports. Just give me sports. They're probably going to say, if there's any leftover money, I'll get it, because they're going to show up across every, baseball, softball, women's basketball, men's basketball, not so much. But to your point, a program like LSU, I could see them saying, let's go hard at men's basketball again. Let's bring in Shaq to start doing our NIL money stuff, and tell him he'll get his money back because we got this $20 million. Like, it's college athletics.
We're in a new age where I'm happy that athletes are getting paid. We've got to figure out the way to do it in a way where it's equitable, right?
Yeah. And it's never gonna be.
It's never gonna be.
You and I both.
At least it's not gonna be the wild. I don't think it's gonna be the wild, wild west anymore. Yeah. It's people are gonna find a way. There's always loopholes.
Yeah, it's whoever has the deepest pockets. Let's be honest. Like, that's the truth. And who cares the most about the output of the teams, right? There's that too, and that's why I think you're going to see programs like LSU when there's, you got the New Orleans Saints, you got the Pelicans, right? But everyone loves LSU. Yeah. And same could be said for Texas, Austin, big city, capital.
But the interesting point is, everyone gets mad at the Major League Baseball commissioner, because of what he does, but he's hired by the owner, so he's got to keep the owners happy. It's the same thing with this sports commission. Mm-hmm. Like, the Power 5 hired this guy, so like technically he reports to them.
Well, you need a whiteboard. Are you at a conference? If so, please find someone that can articulate this in less than 10 slides, because I don't think you could, right? No. With examples, because it's going to be, this started what? This went into effect. It doesn't go into effect till the 25th, right?
July 1st.
July 1st. What do you expect to happen then? What do you think happens?
I think if people are still using fax machines, the fax machine's going to get loaded up with all these contracts coming in from LSU and UT.
There's preloaded.
Listen, if you have to upload a PDF file of your NIL deal, this system better have enough horsepower to crank through it.
Oh, man. Great for the athletes. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. The product, we'll see. Some would argue the product's pretty good. Expansion of the college football playoff. They're talking about expanding the NCAA men's tournament, probably the women's tournament. They have to do that.
I'm just wondering, are they going to make this public information on how much USC is paying their players? Or is this...
USC's a poor example. USC doesn't report anything. They don't.
Alabama. Are we going to be able to see how much Alabama's paying their football players?
Alabama's not honest either. Let's think of a public.
Stanford.
They're not public either.
But they're in the ACC.
UCLA.
Okay.
They're a California school system. They probably have to report. We'll see. How much is Cronin giving all those guys?
You know what no one's really talking about? They're talking about Title IX. You got to have the same number of scholarships, but they're not talking about payments, right? Like
Yeah.
if the men are getting more money than the women, and if the disparity is huge, that's going to be a
Yeah,
major problem.
that's true. If you're the women, are you lining up saying, okay, I'm seeing every dollar go over there. I need to see a dollar come our way.
I
I mean,
think, listen, if you're a coaching women's program, that's what you're saying, right?
but
Like,
that's
hey,
what your
I
hope
need more
is.
money.
But from the accountability side, he's going to go, we have to pay this back. Are you going to pay me back? And
Yeah,
that's where the issue is going to come. Like, probably not. You're going to have to say, you're investing here, but you're going to make it up elsewhere.
true. But if you're Gino Ariema, UConn, like he can get that money back.
You can. Good. No doubt. That is an anomaly in the
Because if
sport.
you're a coach, what you need to do is the money is generated from ticket sales and
Yeah.
merchandise. But once you get to like the NCAA tournament and you're getting to the Sweet 16 and the Final Four, that's when you're really generating a lot of revenue. So you're like, hey, I've been to the tournament X amount
There
of
you
times.
go.
I've been to like Don
There's your
Staley. I've been to
case.
the Sweet 16.
There's your
Like
case.
the TV revenue is coming in.
Yep, there's your case. The guys or gals or whoever's coaching that they're just on the precipice of actually breaking through, right? And the notoriety comes from people watching you on TV, to fans caring, to money into your program.
Yeah.
But you're right. You're gonna have to, if you're a coach, you're gonna have to go sell the dream and say, hey, I need this money to bring the players, bring the athletes, bring this superstar or whatever. Because if I don't, the team down the street is getting them.
Exactly. I got to
Maybe we
go.
should become coaches. We're sales guys.
We should.
Where would you coach?
Texas.
No, I would not do that. I
You know
would
how
go
much
to a.
money they have
I
through
would
the
go to just some
collective?
like meddling team. You want to go to the. You don't want to come in at the top. You
Like
want to go.
Washington State?
That's a tougher task than I'd like to take on.
I want all the smoke. I want all the heat. I want all the money. And then you know what?
No,
If I
more
don't
money, more
succeed,
problems.
they
That's what
buy
this is.
they
More
buy
money, more
they,
problems.
they buy you out. And you're
More
like, all
money,
right,
more problems. What are you going to trickle down to
listen,
Southern
I
Miss and
signed a
then down to
5-year
FAMU?
deal. I don't get past year one. They buy me out. Okay, give me my 30 million and I'll walk.
Give me Rutgers. I will take Rutgers to the top. Birthplace of football. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's get
All
out of
right.
here.
I gotta eat some barbecue.
Cags watch. 0 home runs again. 0
Yeah.
over.
He's playing the Yankees. He's going to get hot. Yankees pitching hasn't been great. He's going to rise to the occasion. You should rise to the occasion, and you should follow us anywhere you get your social media at Big Ben Kwin _ at Big Ben Kwin _ X, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube every week. Download, listen, subscribe anywhere you get your audio podcast. I'm Kwin. He's Big Ben, and we are out of here. Like
Boom.
like the Thunder in 6. My Pacers aren't done. We're not done.
You're done.
Arch for Heisman.
You need 34 things to happen right tonight, including like Shy not to show up. That's maybe you can make that happen. Maybe you could stop Shy.
Arch, Heisman, and he needs a Heisman and a Natty to leave.
Do we take all of our funds and invest it in the Arch, the teaser, the 2-team teaser, or the 2-thing teaser, the 2-part, 2-part parlay?
Yes.
Can you
Heisman, Natty.
Heisman, Natty? What's the payout on that?
I don't know. We'll see. I'll get back to you on that.
Boom.